Brigadier Ian, the second part of your book, or the large part of your book, deals with your days in the army. Lot of details, lot of background, lot of interesting episodes, mostly pleasant, sometimes a little bit of hiccups where you don't like people or they felt you were unfairly treated. But how do you remember, who greeted you when you first joined the army at which place?
Well, that is a very, very important thing that happens in our life. Whenever a youngster comes to the unit, we plan his reception. And very often I'll tell you what happens. It's a joke. Some of the senior officers go as the driver, as the orderly, and pick up his luggage and make all those kind of things which he does not know. It's only after he reaches the unit and at dinner, when he comes dressed up in his uniform, that they realize that, oh, this chap was there and I was talking all kinds of things
I
to
see.
him.
I see.
You see? So you can't forget that.
What were the high points of your service days? I think both you served in both the wars,
That's true.
71 and 65. So which were the high points?
You see, I would tell you this, war is something we all wait for, we plan for, we train for. Years pass by before you get one opportunity. And I think nobody would like to let that go.
Provided you come out the winner.
Yes, but if you are still around like me, you would be a winner. You wouldn't be there otherwise. You see, I would tell you that much. I've had lots of very, very near and close escapes. And God is great. He kept me going. And that's how I'm here talking to you today.
True.
Yeah. The army during the war is absolutely transforming. I can tell you that, for example, in 1971, when we were chasing the Pakistanis and we were on the banks of the Madhumati river, and that night we went up because we wanted early in the morning to cross we couldn't cross the very wide river.
This is in which state?
This is in Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Yes, in Bangladesh, just ahead of, before Faridkot.
Okay.
We were on this axis that we were to, our formation, that is the divisions and the corps, was told to capture from Kishan in India via Jesso and go on to Faridkot, Magura, Madhuban, all these places. You'll be surprised that we didn't have too much of equipment because we had not catered for so many years. We should have had more knowledge about all this, but we did not know what route the Pakistanis would take to run away, So we were sleeping that night. We must have come in at about 1 o'clock or so, and we were supposed to get out from there at about 5 in the morning, cross the river and then chase the Pakistanis. And it was at about 3 or 4 o'clock when the people started to stir that I also got up and put my head out and I looked at the chap there and one fellow was, so I gave him a nudge and I found, he also opened out his blanket from over his head and I found that was my brigade commander.
Yes.
All sleeping together on the ground, on the mud.
Yeah, just a sec, sorry about the interruption. So you found that the guy sleeping next to you was your brigade commander?
Brigade commander. He found out where is he was fond of me, Ian de Costa, and he knew that I will not let him down. Hey, go in! Go in!
It's okay.
Yeah. So he wanted to know things about it, tell me something, because it was already planned that next morning I would lead that advance. So he was looking for me and I wouldn't know that he's there. So I got shy. I said, somebody was visiting me. And I found it was my brigade commander. So we all were together in one go. My orderly was on one side, my batman and orderly who carries my wireless set and who would help me in the battle, carry messages for me. Then the brigade commander on the other side. And so I asked these fellows to immediately rush out and get. The problem in those days was there was no water. How do you make tea? But some people had saved some little water probably for their brigade, for their company commander, and that we got used and we made tea for the brigade commander. And he was very most grateful and happy. And we early morning we crossed the river to that. So these are certain things which just happen. You don't plan them, really speaking. I would never know that my brigade cook. And he was a very brave man. He was always at the front line, you know. But certain people pay for mistakes made by others. I told this to my corps commander when I was supposed to get a decoration of Mahavir Chakra. They had recommended me, and he spoke to the chief also that this boy must get. We will only have faith in the system if the right people get it. But it was Manik Shaw, who was the chief of army staff, whom we had great regard. But what had happened at that time when this incidents took place there, he said to them, "What is this? Some of my people got captured, but it was not known how they got captured, why they got captured." He said, "Whoever is commanding this lot should not get any award." And he said, I realized, he told me himself personally, years later when I was doing my staff college, I am responsible for that. But, you know, Sam Manekshaw is an Aryan. And bol diya to bol diya. This is how he told me. And so, he didn't go back on his word. He says, but he told me this. I have now come to know that you are a very good boy and you have been continuously doing well. Well, I was recommended even in 65 for a Mahavir Chakra, but I didn't get it. It was not there. But eventually I did get a decoration, but that was a VSM, it is for distinguished service, more or less, you know.
Yeah.
You may do other work, also brave work, but you can't be on both sides of the channel. Yeah.
So your high points were both on the Western Front and on the Eastern Front, with the Battle of Dharmadaha Decide and
with the capture of OPL in Naushera. It was a great thing. You know, I will tell you one thing. I frankly do not know how the time passed in OPL. When we went into the attack, all I know, I went into the attack and I talked to my colleague company commander, Major B.B. Sharma. He was much senior to me. And everything was just, happened like a boxer. You don't plan.
You start in it, everything continues.
Yeah, it just continues. Somebody comes to hit you or something happens and your arm goes up and you
reflex actions.
It's all reflex action. It's only when I finished and I
started thinking about it.
Yeah, that fire the success signal. Then I got praise and shabash from my second in command and my commanding officer that I realized, it's over now.
What was the challenge then? This was a point within Pakistan and...
No, this was an Indian area.
Sorry.
But as soon as the ceasefire took place, the Pakistanis came and occupied it.
A very high point or?
No, it's not a very high point. Actually, it's higher than the valley in between. The Lam Valley is down below. But this was the beginning of the highest point, which is Pir Badesar. So they came there. And the other picket is quite far away. So if you have this here, you overlook the valley.
Okay.
The other picket cannot overlook the valley.
Yeah.
This one overlooked the valley.
And you had to go up on all fours, you mentioned?
Yes. We were going from the rear, which I had never seen, and I didn't realize that it is so steep. But when we went actually to climb it, towards the ascent, we were going on all fours. We were climbing on hands and feet. And of course, I give my hats off to my commanding officer, who thought that it would be like this. We got no mines in that area because they thought that no one can ever come from this side. And we got all the administrative elements, cooks and various all those administrative elements were there. And probably the langar was also there, the cook also there. The fury of the Pakistan. We did, once we got up, it was there.
Yeah.
But they also ran away because they are also human beings. They knew that now this game is up. Yeah.
And in terms of your best days, you described the NDA as...
Oh, it was really a wonderful, because by then we were young men. And I was all-rounder as far as sports were concerned. Athletics, cross-country, boxing, football, hockey, all these games I played. And I enjoyed it and we did well. Sometimes, but however, later on in life, I thought that if I had specialized in just 2 or 3 of these games, I would have been able to get blues. You know, you have a blue when you're outstanding in that particular game. And I found that some of my friends who went to just 2 games or 1 game or 3 games, they got blues and they got points for that. Whereas we being all-rounders, we did well for the team and for the squadron to which I belonged, but I didn't get any blue.
So the NDA basically is a National Defence Academy which is in Khadakwasla near Pune.
Yes, yes.
Even now it's a very kind of elite and
It is,
prestigious
yeah.
institution.
Yes, it is very much there. From the time we were there, we were 10 squadrons, and now it has gone on to, I think, 13 or 14.
How many a year?
No.
Sorry.
For squadron is
Yeah.
is a place, like a company.
Yeah.
But what happened in NDA, we use all the Navy, Army and Air Force terms. So we have a division. The lowest thing is a division, a flight, which is from the Air Force. Then you have a division, and from the division you have a squadron, and then you have a battalion, and that is how it is.
You were in which batch of the NDA?
I was in the 19th course,
19th
batch, which is equivalent to the 28th overall. So that is 9 batches more. I started without an NDA being there.
Okay.
It is when the 10th batch started
The
that
first.
NDA was built here.
Okay.
Otherwise, NDA was called JSW, Joint Services Wing, which was in Dehradun. Yeah.
And now which batch is going on?
Now it's gone on to 124. My younger brother was in 24th batch and now it's 124. So it's gone and gone.
How many a year? How many every year?
Two. One is the summer batch, that starts in June, July. Another one is the winter batch, which starts in January.
There was a time when a lot of Goans, particularly Goans based in other parts of India, would join the army. Not anymore. Why?
I cannot tell you why, but I can tell you that from Goa we should be having many more, and the government needs to do a lot more to encourage the people to join them.
You all had role models in those days who were impressive and whom you all looked up to, and therefore you all joined. Is it like that?
That's true, definitely. We had people like General Vaz, who was
E.A.
from
Vaz.
Saligaon.
E.A. Vaz.
Eric Vaz.
Eric Vaz.
Yeah, he was an excellent person. He was a fearless chap. At one stage, he was virtually put out because of his intransigence and because of he did not, you can say, come up very kindly with the seniors lot. But when 65 came, he was brought back because General Chaudhary, who was the chief then, realized that we need such fellows to fight and win a war. And that's how he was.
Not yes men.
Huh?
Probably not yes men.
Yes, not yes one. When he was in the east and he was getting the food, which was rubbish food, you can call it, he collected the food and he took it with him, took his jeep and drove up to the corps commander and said, "Sir, please eat this. This is what my men are being given, and it should be for you also." And then they realized that this man has got some worth, he's got guts.
So your dad was keen that you all also join the army. He encouraged you all in some way.
I don't think he encouraged us, he encouraged me.
Yeah.
And once I joined, my younger brother followed into the NDA. Yeah.
There were many role models then.
Yes.
Many Goans have reached all kinds of high positions in the Indian Army.
All the three services. And the Navy was practically like we have got General Pinto and so many other, General Rodrigues, many others they were there. That time when we were cadets, they were not really top people, but
middle
people who were climbing. Yeah. And therefore we knew about them someday.
If you had a chance, would you join the army again? And what do you recommend others?
I would. Because I just do not like the corruption that is going on in civil life. And I would join the army. And I left also because I was asked to do something which was corrupt. I was asked to send marbles from my army commander's house, which was being built in this thing, and I said no. And that's the only reason why. Otherwise, I was an outstanding officer, as far as people used to say. And people used to say, no one can stop this boy. Well, that's how it is.
So, in other words, what would be the 3 things that you recommend to the army? What kind of army we need for it to be a better place?
We need officers who should not get cowed down simply by threats. We need need officers who can speak up, speak back, and give their honest opinion, not just keep on saying yes. By just saying yes, I remember now my own colonel of the regiment, he spoke and he said that what kind of officer do we want in our army today? Colonels who give gifts, presents, and who say yes man, or you want people who can give you the honest truth about what they are saying. Lots of lives could be saved in battle and in otherwise if we speak the truth and take adequate measures to keep the enemy in check. Today many people are asking why India is not taking steps or the army is not fighting back, hitting back. Well, I don't think I need to explain the why. The men are brave and we have got some weapons but it's a bit short. If you've got to fight 30-day war, you need at least 45 days of ammunition available. You can't take the risk that 30 is going to stop. No, it's not a clock. It has to carry on. So you need to plan for that. And that's why somebody had told, not somebody, I'll tell you, it is Lieutenant General Prem Bhagat, who was a Victoria Cross, who won it in North Africa in 1943 or 44. He said to Madam Indira Gandhi one day, Madam, having an army is an expensive job. And if you can't spend the money on it, don't have it. Just close it down. He's one of the people we all respected greatly. And he was sent out, he did not become the chief. He was sent to Damodar Valley Corporation as the chairman.
Yes.
And his wife often said he was a good player, good golf player, lady player, he was the top in the world, in India at that time. He said, my husband didn't die of a heart attack. He died of a broken heart. If he wanted to do something, he couldn't do that.
Thanks so much.